There are normal weeks where you get up and you go to work and you have a day. And then there are weeks where someone in the government recommends a prison surrounded by crocodiles. We had a crocodile week. Welcome to another stupid week. Today we're going to be covering the stupidest idea Ben Gvir has ever come up with since the last idea he's come up with, the fight over the Israeli Oscar Awards, the commission to explain how all the bad things aren't anyone's fault, and the biggest internal betrayal in Israeli history, or just an innocent mistake, depending on who you ask. But first, El Al, everyone's favorite airline, if they hate themselves, is going to be fined for abusing their market monopoly. That is kind of like fining water for being wet. There is a reason that we send Greta Thunberg home on El Al, and it wasn't to show off the pride of our national air carrier. Greta Thunberg complained that her human rights had been violated after she flew El Al. El Al, of course, is claiming that they did absolutely nothing wrong by gouging customers over prices when they were the only airline flying in and out of Israel. And now, on to stupid minister news. Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's Minister of National Security, asked the prison service to formulate a plan for a new prison surrounded by a moat filled with crocodiles. And here is what I assume the plan will look like. But before we talk about this, we have to talk about this clip that surfaced on Friday. Here is the Minister of National Security being greeted by none other than Star Wars music at a ceremony for the police this week. But back to crocodiles. I have so many questions about where are we getting these crocodiles from, who is going to feed them, who is going to maintain all this, and why, God, why? I'm not even worried about the absurd picture this is going to paint of Israel if it happened. I'm just concerned that we're going to have to be put through the spectacle and some press conference of someone from the police or Ben Gvir going, we have no idea how the crocodiles escaped. This is not our fault. Now, would you believe me if I told you the story gets even dumber? Last year in August, Israel killed hundreds of crocodiles on a farm in the West Bank. Why, you might ask? Over fears that they'd be weaponized for terror and were dangerous. So to summarize, in 2024, we killed a whole bunch of crocodiles because they might be dangerous, and now we're going to use crocodiles to keep security prisoners in because they're dangerous. What could possibly go wrong? Listen, if you're the guy building the prison surrounded by crocodiles, this is the music that you're supposed to get. Likud MK and drunk aunt of Knesset Tali Gotliv's phone was allegedly hacked this past week after she and another member of Knesset, Moshe Sadeh, which, let's face it, no one knows who that is or cares, reported to the Knesset security that their phones had been potentially breached and data leaked online. When asked about the breach, Tali Gotliv said, "There is nothing interesting on my phone. Only a mentally unstable person will leave valuable information on their phone, so I'm not worried about it." Which goes to prove that crazy people don't know they're crazy. And in even more stupid minister news, Culture Minister and Sopranos extra Miki Zohar announced his intention to cancel the film law, which provides 130 million shekels annually to the Israeli film industry. The announcement follows the withdrawal of several nominees from Zohar's alternative state ceremony, which was supposed to replace the Ophir Awards, Israel's official Oscar ceremony. And if you have to still refer to yourself as the alternative ceremony, you're not really winning here. Zohar says that some of the nominees for the alternative ceremony were withdrawing because of threats and political persecution from colleagues he describes as left-wing extremists. Most of the nominees have explicitly stated their withdrawal has nothing to do with any of that. Zohar had established the awards ceremony after cutting funding to the Israeli Academy Award Ophir Awards because the film The Sea, about Palestinian child, won Best Picture. Critics of the ceremony point out that instead, unlike the Ophir Awards, the Likud Awards is giving out cash as a prize, which could just be another way that they are transferring money to people who support them. Who could have ever thought that they would do such a thing? And after the government has finished these crucial issues of crocodile prisons and award ceremonies, they had just a little bit of time left over to get to some of the other minor issues plaguing this country. Like the political committee to investigate all the bad things that happened that are clearly not our fault, and we will find out who it is. This week, the Knesset voted and passed in a preliminary reading a bill that would set up a political commission of inquiry as opposed to a state commission of inquiry to investigate the tragedy of October 7th. Netanyahu said that it would be a balanced commission that would have people who come from all ends of the political spectrum, from the people all the way on the right who don't blame Bibi Netanyahu for October 7th to people in the middle who don't blame Bibi Netanyahu for October 7th. The bill would set up a national state commission with members chosen by both the coalition and the opposition. But if they disagree or the opposition boycotts the proceedings, which they plan on doing, it triggers a mechanism where Likud just gets to pick all the appointees. The controversy and criticism around the commission is the concern that the political party that has been in power for over a decade might not be best positioned to investigate the people in charge of October 7th. As if they were trying to prove the point that they are looking for someone else to blame other than themselves, Bibi chaired the committee that was responsible for determining the scope of the government investigation to October 7th, and now they want to include historical events like the Oslo Accords, the 2005 disengagement, which, by the way, Bibi voted in favor of, and potentially the judicial reform protests and groups like Achim Neshek. Critics and anyone with common sense would argue that this is a tactic to dilute responsibility for the specific failures of October 7th. And by the way, there is no word whether they've determined if they will investigate if giving a ton of money from Qatar to Hamas was a great idea to begin with. And finally, last but dear God, not least, Qatargate, the scandal in the Prime Minister's office where people who work for the PM might have also been working for the people who Hamas worked for. Ha ha ha. Isn't that terrifying? The core allegations of Qatargate are that top aides to Benjamin Netanyahu, including Yonatan Erlich and Eli Feldstein, are accused of accepting payments from Qatar while working in the Prime Minister's office. The alleged payments were intended to help boost Qatar's image in Israel and framing the nation as a helpful mediator in hostage talks rather than the people who sponsored Hamas. Key suspects are Eli Feldstein, a former spokesperson for the PM, who is also implicated in a separate event called the Bild Leaks, where he allegedly leaked classified information to a German newspaper at the direction of the Prime Minister, and Yonatan Ulrich, a close political advisor to Netanyahu for many years. Critics are calling this treason, arguing that Prime Minister staff working for a foreign government, one sponsoring Hamas no less, while working in the Prime Minister's office, while we're at war in Hamas, is a very bad thing. And people who support the Prime Minister are obviously saying that this is absolutely nothing and it's just a political witch hunt. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett went so far as to say that this might be the greatest betrayal in Israeli history. It should be important to note that these are very serious allegations with a lot of evidence to point to the fact that there were actually people accepting payments inside the Prime Minister's office from Qatar. And even if the Prime Minister says that he didn't know about it, then what does that say about the person who campaigns on being in a league of his own and the best person suited for this job, that right under his nose, close personal aides were accepting money from terror-sponsoring states? Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching. And just as a last reminder, there is one hostage still left in Gaza, Ron Gvir, a police officer who fought on October 7th, and his body is still being held in Gaza by Hamas. And he fought for this country, he died for this country, he served this country, and he deserves to be buried at home. So don't forget, there's one hostage left in Gaza. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you liked it, don't forget to give a like and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, I will be back next week. We'll see. Maybe you'll like it then.